What's up YouTube, this is Detroit Borg with a look at the new July 2011 Mac Mini. And this isn't the Mac Mini server, this is the Mac Mini. The Mac Mini has now lost its optical drive. So we see here the IR sensor, and there's a little power indicator here. We'll take a look at that once we get it connected. Now this is the standard configuration, so this gives me 2 gigs of RAM and the 2.3 gigahertz Sandy Bridge Core i5 processor. Now on the side we have our spec sticker, and I'll post the specs in the description below, but briefly 2.3 gigahertz Core i5 processor, so this is a dual core processor, 2 gigs of RAM, a 500 gigabyte hard disk drive running at 5400 RPM, and we have the integrated Intel processor, so this is the Intel HD Graphics 3000 processor with 268 or 280 megs of shared DDR3 RAM. In fact, if we look at the side, we have our Thunderbolt logo, Intel Core i5, as well as the OS X Lion logo. On the back we have our I/O ports, so we'll take a look at that once we get the Mac Mini out of its box. It just slides out like every other Mac. Comes with a nice pull tab to pull it out of its box. So that's the front. You can barely tell, it looks like one piece of aluminum. We have our IR sensor and our power indicator. Now on the back we have our I/O ports. Let's put this aside for a moment. So on the inside we have an HDMI to DVI adapter, so you can output the HDMI video to DVI. We also have a power cable, and of course the Mac Mini has an internal power supply, so we have no wall wart or power brick. It's just the cable. And we also have, hello, so we have our literature, Apple stickers, and Apple 1-year limited warranty. Now what we're not finding here is any sort of restoration software, so we don't have a USB drive or an optical drive. Of course the Mac Mini no longer offers an optical drive, although you can buy an external one. But what they're doing instead is putting a partition on the hard drive which contains all of the backup and restoration information. So when you go to restore your computer, you restore from a partition. Alrighty, so let's pull off the plastic. Again, it's just a nice little plastic envelope. We have Mac Mini, and we have this very easy, user-accessible door on the bottom, which allows you to upgrade the RAM very easily. We're going to do that in just a minute. So on the back, we have the power button, we have our power connector, we have a gigabit Ethernet connector, as well as a FireWire 800 port, HDMI connector, and the Thunderbolt / DisplayPort connector. Of course, that's new for this new Mac Mini. And we have 4 USB 2.0 ports, an SD card slot, along with optical audio out and audio in. Now we also have the vent back here. Again, this allows the Mac Mini to breathe. Now to remove this panel, you see we have some indicators up here which tell us what's in the lock and open position. So in order to open this, just slide it to the left and it should fall right out. And you can see we have our RAM chips here and our ventilator right here, as well as our Wi-Fi antenna. Now to put this plate back on, just position it so that you have the white dot in the unlock position, and then turn right. Locks into place. So there we go. Now let's go ahead and connect this. Now the Mac Mini is a desktop computer, but I'm using it for my home theater, so I've connected an HDMI cable and I've connected the power cable. So we're going to start it up and take a look. Now, the Mac Mini does have an internal speaker, but will output audio through the HDMI cable. If we look at my TV right now, you see the Apple logo. Unfortunately, I have a lot of distortion with this camera and this TV. Believe me, you're not going to see this if you connect it to your TV. Now it wants me to connect either a mouse or a trackpad, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now it wants me to connect a keyboard. Alright, so I've connected my keyboard. I'm in the United States. A US keyboard. I just need to log into my network. Now I've gone through the initial configuration. Now it wants me to transfer my information. I can do it a number of ways. I can do it from another Mac, from a PC, from a time machine or other disk, or I don't have to transfer anything now. In fact, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use Migration Assistant later to take care of everything else. Now, I just need to create my computer account, so this will be my username and my password. Alright, now it's just telling us about reverse scrolling. They've changed that in OS X Lion, so what was up is now down and what is down is now up. So it just wants us to confirm this, and we're going to start using OS X Lion. Now the one thing you saw here is it didn't ask me to take a photo for my user account, and that's of course because the Mac Mini has no camera. But there we go, we have an OS X Lion desktop on my home theater. So that's going to do it for me, guys. I'm going to have much more on the Mac Mini. I'm going to do benchmarks, speed tests, everything you can imagine. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.